Hi, good morning. Just listening to a few articles. It is 11 past 3 a.m. here, or 3:11 anti-meridian time. 3:12 now.
There's only one Ozempic. Hello, I'm Ozempic, and I'm on a GLP-1.
Alexa, volume 2. And already an Ozempic ad. Oh my gosh. It's gotten worse, hasn't it? Well, you know what they say, where some things get worse, other things get better. Where some doors are closed, other doors are opened. Yeah, isn't it beautiful? And we're just listening to a few things here. It is the 18th day of August, or August 18th, as some say. Yeah, I don't usually get too personal with that kind of stuff. Yeah, we're all about the news, and just reporting to people what's going on here, trying to get help for the hostages. That's really all we're about. We share information and topics and stuff and that we do in different classes and therapy groups, different readings, art stuff. Yeah, like sometimes we'll just share drawings or doodles or readings from books that we read or articles that we're reading online. Sort of like right now, we're going to listen to something and then we're going to read an article. Alexa, volume 5. Alexa, volume 4. I could hear those. I don't think I was coming over by, I don't know, Riverside Drive. I don't know, it sounded like it was over by that area. I couldn't really tell. Yeah, I'm gonna make a coffee. Just had some water. I don't know. Oh, my hearing's way off. I could have been over by Riverside, West River Road or Riverside Drive would be my guess. It's red right hand.
Go to spots that used to be picture.
Don't tell me you're 100 years old. You got to go again. I'll take one more guess. 650. I'm 110. 100. Well, do you think exercise all your life has contributed to your 102 years? That's right. What kind of exercise do you take now? I bowl. I play tennis and kick. Well, now, are you married, Pop? I ain't now. How long were you married, Pop? I was married 72 years. You're a real Iron Man. Do you have any children? I had 7 girls and 9 boys. 16 children, huh? That's right. How old are your oldest children? 82. youngest. He's 36. How about grandchildren? How many do you have? I have 69. And do you have any? 39 great-grandchildren and 19 great-great-grandchildren. In other words, you're responsible for about 150 American citizens. Yeah. You like to buy the Christmas present? Don't tell me you're 100 years old.
We just hit another grim milestone for water in the American West as Lake Powell, the nation's second largest reservoir, hits all-time lows. 9 days after Big Sister Lake Mead reaches that dubious mark. I spent my boyhood exploring these places, and I can tell you it is stunning to go to spots that used to be picture postcard islands, now turned to desert. The ramps going from the rim of the canyon down to the water get steeper every year, and the bathtub ring from the high water mark in the 80s is now nearly 19 stories tall. And this really matters because 40 million people and their animals and 5 million acres of cropland depend on the Colorado River system to survive, and a lot of power is generated by Hoover and Glen Canyon dams. About 500,000 homes get electricity from that one, and right now the water is less than 30 feet from the point where there's not enough to spin the turbines. The water is just going to keep dropping over the summer because the inflows are down to a trickle. There was just such little snowfall in the Rockies last year. But there's hope against hope that this big El Nino that's touching off in the Pacific will bring that kind of snow they're seeing in the Andes right now. They can really use it in the American Southwest this winter. We just hit another grim milestone for water in the American West as Lake Powell, the nation's second largest reservoir, hits all-time lows. 9 days after Big Sister Lake Mead reaches that dubious mark. I spent my boyhood exploring these places, and I can tell you it is stunning to go to spots that used to be picture postcard islands, now turned to desert. The ramps going from the rim of the canyon down to the water get steeper every year, and the bathtub ring from the high water mark in the 80s is now nearly 19 stories tall. And this really matters because 40 million people and their animals and 5 million acres of cropland depend on the Colorado River system to survive, and a lot of power is generated by Hoover and Glen Canyon dams. About 500,000 homes get electricity from that one, and right now the water is less than 30 feet from the point where there's not enough to spin the turbines. The water is just going to keep dropping over the summer because the inflows are down to a trickle. There was just such little snowfall in the Rockies last year. But there's hope against hope that this big El Nino that's touching off in the Pacific will bring that kind of snow they're seeing in the Andes right now. They can really use it in the American Southwest this winter. We just hit another grim milestone for water in the American West as Lake Powell, the nation's second largest reservoir, hits all-time lows. 9 days after Big Sister Lake Mead reaches that dubious mark. I spent my boyhood exploring these places, and I can tell you it is stunning to go to spots that used to be picture postcard islands, now turned to desert. The ramps going from the rim of the canyon down to the water get steeper every year, and the bathtub ring from the high water mark in the 80s is now nearly 19 stories tall. And this really matters because 40 million people and their animals and 5 million acres of cropland depend on the Colorado River system to survive, and a lot of power is generated by Hoover and Glen Canyon dams. About 500,000 homes get electricity from that one, and right now the water is less than 30 feet from the point where there's not enough to spin the turbines. The water is just going to keep dropping over the summer because the inflows are down to a trickle. There was just such little snowfall in the Rockies last year. But there's hope against hope that this big El Nino that's touching off in the Pacific will bring that kind of snow they're seeing in the Andes right now. They can really use it in the American Southwest this winter. We just hit another grim milestone for water in the American West as Lake Powell, the nation's second largest reservoir, hits all-time lows. 9 days after Big Sister Lake Mead reaches that dubious mark. I spent my boyhood exploring these places, and I can tell you it is stunning to go to spots that used to be picture postcard islands, now turned to desert. The ramps going from the rim of the canyon down to the water get steeper every year, and the bathtub ring from the high water mark in the 80s is now nearly 19 stories tall. And this really matters because 40 million people and their animals and 5 million acres of cropland depend on the Colorado River system to survive, and a lot of power is generated by Hoover and Glen Canyon dams. About 500,000 homes get electricity from that one, and right now the water is less than 30 feet from the point where there's not enough to spin the turbines. The water is just going to keep dropping over the summer because the inflows are down to a trickle. There was just such little snowfall in the Rockies last year, but there's hope against hope that this big El Nino that's touching off in the Pacific will bring that kind of snow they're seeing in the Andes right now. They can really use it in the American Southwest this winter.
What, that clip from before with the old guy?
Don't tell me you're 100 years old.
Yeah, 102 years old. Likes to bowl. I know. We were just gonna go bowling. Yeah, it's fun to make plans, huh? Right. I know, over and over again throughout the years, people have always seek and discover. I mean, what is the secret, really? Good health. Yeah, you know, this square one type of stuff with the public education helps a lot of people be able to live more comfortable, safe, and secure lifestyles when you think about the work and housing programs, teaching them about their bodies and money and how to survive. Yeah, they're not really taught any of that. No, it's ridiculous. It is. It's really sad. You know, when you think about the systematic progress and everything that would happen. Well, they implement it in some areas, right? Yeah, it's almost like private schools. Yeah, why wouldn't they implement that in the public systems? Why do they lie and say it's not feasible when it is very feasible and even less expensive? Right, because they don't profit from those things. They profit from big pharma and prison. A lot of these big American business people within our politics and government and healthcare systems and education systems and state departments and even homeless people. Some of them like to be homeless. Oh, nothing and you'll be happy. It's way safer, right? Travel around, use alias names. It's great. Yeah, so a lot of people are like shooting for different things, I guess. I don't know. Kill yourself, some say. Yeah, you're just gonna kill yourself. Change your name. You kill that person. Holy smokes. Persona, sorry.
Even with 2 employees leaving to go to ICE, Sheriff Kevin Joyce says his staff has to work even harder.
For the individuals that are working here, they have to pick up the slack left by the individuals moving on.
Homeland Security has an incentive for their employees that local law enforcement just can't beat. A $50,000 sign-on bonus.
I think all of my colleagues...
Well, again, yeah, the basic skills, square one stuff. You wouldn't have a lack there. You'd have a waiting list, right? Amazing, isn't it? Why wouldn't they want to implement that? And where have they been shifting a lot of the funding and training to? Right, because they need police too, right? They seem to forget about the commoners and basic living and education and hospitals and clean water. They just think they can just go in and sterilize everybody with the vaccines that they make more money from. And then
The total number of homeland security employees in Maine is actually down this year, with no
send in people to train police and stuff to
Maine total coverage.
take care of any problems or anyone confused or running around screaming because they don't know what the fuck's going on. They're just trying to explain to people, look, we're going to build like a Walmart or something. It's going to be great. We need stuff here. They're going to help us. Right. I mean, whatever it is over the years, then people just don't understand. And other people scare them and they say they're going to bring in this or that. Right. I mean, they scare people with like end of the world type stuff, you know? And they really believe it and they go fucking postal and I know. I mean, it's really easy to wrangle up a few people from those crowds and drop them somewhere else. Kind of like sometimes I'll take Americans and go drop them somewhere. A jungle, space. Are you lost? Right. So anyways, I hope the proper authorities here in Augusta, Maine address these things. I don't know what kind of shadow games you think you're playing. I know. They think because they have money or something and that we can't do anything about it, that it's okay for them to ignore it. Unbelievable. Yeah, my name's Mary. We're at the Governor Hill Mansion in Augusta, Maine. My youngest two children are in the hands of sick murderers, pedophiles. Yeah, these pedo rings and producers and stuff. Yeah, we're so sick of watching the nasty slugs protect their fucking abusive buddies and pass around a bunch of these microchips with abuse on it, both fake and real, getting forces both within our military and very powerful and rich activist groups go after innocent people for kicking dogs and fucking up their drugs, getting snitches, people that got them put in prison or their friends killed. They put that blame onto other people. I know, so sorry our existence exposes the truth.
But in a press conference after the hearing, lawmakers and the family's attorney say there is no sign of the federal government.
Is it our existence?
We have not been contacted by a single federal agency.
Because this hearing was a formal congressional hearing, all the comments are on record, and members here today say they plan to bring the information back.
Well, don't get it confused.
And answers from the Trump administration.
Right, we're talking about before times. Like back in the 90s when we were chipped. Again. We had already been. Oh, we were again. No, we're not right now. Scan away. What do you think you're going to find? Yeah, nothing to see here, folks. So yeah, no, we were all ready. And the new ones, I mean, they're all approved. People want them, right? Yeah, they're all approved. People either want them for probation instead of getting a tracking device. Some people want them put in their kids or dogs so they know where they're at. Yeah, actually they do that. They do it with animals, they do it with human beings. Right, well the human ones have been in early development and testing, and they tried it on animals first, just like they do everything else, right, for years, the tracking of different wildlife and things like that. Well, they had chipped some beings, of course, they just don't like people to know about it. I think they too find it interesting to watch some try to figure things out, and how they respond to this or that. It's been fun over the years, hasn't it? Anyways, yeah, we're very aware, I think, because we can hear so much of the communication. And, you don't always understand where it's coming from, but in the aftermath, and you can go, oh. Yeah, I caught on to that when I was a teenager. Almost drove me mental. Thank goodness I held on. It wasn't easy with a lot of the fucking rats and nasty slugs around us, playing their fucking games, as always. Getting the retard. The spoiled brat. Is it ungrateful? I know. It gets old, doesn't it? Gets so old. I know. And then the excuses and reasons for the different hazing groups and individuals that come over the years. It's the racist stuff. Bully, Karen, non-vaxxer, part of a cartel family. Yeah, notice how that never got brought up until like 2009 or 10. Remember the shift? Yeah, before that, no, that wasn't a problem, was it? No, people liked that. They were looking for who killed Kennedy and their heroine. Writing a book with funding. Yeah, go figure. I know, you try to tell people this shit. It's like, shouldn't you have a fucking problem with that? No? You don't get it, do you? Wow. I know. Oh, you use nice needle marks on your arm. Bye, dickhead. Right, so we got used to this in the 90s. Proper authorities here in Augusta, Maine need to wake the fuck up and do what they can to get our children away from these sick motherfuckers.
Every piece of publicly available information, every bit of analysis I've seen doesn't show that they've gotten any closer to a deal. In fact, perhaps even a little bit further, things only seem to be deteriorating. At times we've heard more threats of possible strikes. Iran's foreign ministry spokespersons have said that a deal is coming, but acknowledge that it's moving really, really slowly here. So at this point, we just don't know when this is going to end at this point.
We just hit another grim milestone.
And the president shared some praise for North Korea as he scaled back U.S. military training in South Korea. Talk about the last minute change here.
Yeah, I mean, the president said that, he cited financial concerns about being involved with South Korea.
Don't tell me you're 100 years old.
Psychological discomfort is you're driving and somebody shouts at you and says you're an idiot. That's called psychological discomfort.
I'm sure if they've gotten any closer to
Don't tell me you're 100 years old.
a little bit further, things only seem to be deteriorating. At times we've heard more threats of possible strikes. Iran's foreign ministry spokespersons have said that a deal is coming, but acknowledge that it's moving really, really slowly here. So at this point, we just don't know when this is going to end at this point. There's no end in sight right now. So.
And the president shared some praise for North Korea as he scaled back U.S. military.
He said we just don't know. He said.
We just hit another grim milestone for water in the American West as Lake Powell.
We just didn't.
Psychological
We just hit another grim milestone for water in the American West as.
Anyways, I'm gonna read an article. So the major U.S. reservoirs, like Lake Powell and Lake Mead, are not being intentionally redirected to a new region. Rather, water flows are being shifted upstream and downstream within the Colorado River system. Why? The U.S. Bureau of Reclamation sends emergency water from high basin reservoirs like Fleming Gorge into Lake Powell to prop up plummeting levels. So they're not being intentionally redirected, and as you can see where some is being shifted upstream and downstream within the Colorado River system, I'm pretty sure these things have kind of always happened. Right, like some places will be more swampy and soggy one year, and then all of a sudden within a few years, wow, it's a pond. Thing looks like a lake now. What the heck happened? Right, and what was once a lake is like, wow, what happened? Puddles. Yeah, like ponds, different ponds and pools of water, and then how these can be redirected. I think it's good to shift that stuff somewhat, yeah. Like Christmas trees.
Cardiac arrest, this is no while 7-year-old Ainsley Ridge Road, apartment 1309.
Beatles Bridge Road, overdose, CPR is in progress.
She was pronounced dead at 2:32 in the
So extra water is released from Flaming Gorge Reservoir toward Lake Powell. Downstream reductions, releases from Glen Canyon Dam into Lake Mead are actively restricted to conserve Lake Powell's remaining volume. That makes sense? Regional, I don't know why they don't just explain this. Like, oh, what's happening? Right, I'm not sure. I'm wondering myself, what the fuck? Right, and then when you bring these things up, like, just not to be mean, like, what are they talking about? People don't know what's going on. And then they show you these clips. Back 10 years ago, it was Jay Leno with the college kids. Now they got YouTubers doing it. Just playing fucking stupid and making a show of it. Oh, they're just acting and pretending to be stupid.
Just 11 months old. She appeared in 34 films, 5 TV
Anyways.
series.
Regional allocation. Deliveries to lower basin states like Arizona and Nevada, as well as Mexico, face mandatory cuts due to Tier 2 shortage declarations. Right, so these are really important things to understand, and how we cope and deal with those things. Adjust work programs and different things that are involved with upkeep, keeping the land clean and prosperous and healthy, toiling the soil, keeping our waterways clean. The importance of this, it should be things we're educated about every single day. And they don't seem to want to do it. They turn it into this, they're gonna make you eat maggots fucking show. And how they fucking did that years, decades after people have been targeted and killed. Good people who aren't gonna make you eat maggots. And they act like they're just listening to the rhetoric. They know what the fuck they're doing, and they're playing stupid on purpose. A lot of good people have been killed and targeted who did nothing wrong. In their eyes, what did they do wrong? Why did they need to get rid of them? Why were they targeted? Yeah, no, we've looked into a lot of them. It seems like, I mean, growing up too, you know, we saw them doing that shit to a lot of those people. Drove them right out of fucking town. Really sad. Good people. I can remember people, saying they were leaving. A lot of the Jewish, more well-to-do people took their kids out of school. Yeah, what was going on? What are the connections with Jim Carrey and Oprah that a lot of people seem to be connecting? Do you understand why we mention certain names? I know, it's not to pick on anyone. It's interesting. Yeah, a lot of these people that have been involved in speaking out about similar things when it comes to healthcare and the vaccines and learning disabilities. It's absolutely insane and sad how they shifted so much of the funding that was supposed to go towards education, skills and training programs, and how by implementing that in a lot of the public school systems would have helped all the systems. Right, and then when they show these scenes, I know we were just watching that, it's hard sometimes to not be distracted with that playing in the background, you know? Right, just as far as people being aware. I mean, as you can see, most people are scared or not scared at all. They fear nothing. And they're over-medicated. It's so sad. No, just, I mean, when you think about a public school kid and the 72 vaccines they're given by what age? I know, and then they have them all ready to be getting SSRIs and anti-anxiety medications by the time they're fucking 7 or 8 years old. I can't fucking believe this shit. They know how dangerous that is. It's worse than alcohol. And when people understand the damage that alcohol does to the prefrontal cortex, overconsumption, you know, my gosh, if you have a sip, like, oh gosh, I had a sip. I used to sip beer before my prefrontal cortex. Now we're talking about excessive use. If the mother used alcohol during pregnancy and then early alcohol use, even worse. Yeah, some people have that in their family history, severe alcoholism. Right, I mean, and that would probably be connected to family lines that were bootleggers on those trafficking lines, we've been talking about. That would make sense. I think a lot of them went into heroin. After it was legalized. Freaking government, man. Took all their business. Won't let them make it themselves. Well, people are getting sick, dude. I don't remember this shit. They were still doing that, remember? A lot of people still do it. But it's safer. I mean, when does it become a problem? If they're trying to sell it or they're passing it out to people, people are getting sick. Right, but you can't really sue anybody if you drink alcohol or take something from someone that you know they made it in their backyard. And even if you didn't, they just gave it to you. Well, I mean, that's your own, you go to a place and you just drink something, right? Right, so people could get sick if it's not regulated. It could be way too strong, right? That's why they have laws on how strong it can be. And that's why then, okay, moonshine became popular, because they would make it above the legal whatever. I mean, it's like, it doesn't even make sense, really, does it? It's stupid. It's just ways they look to try to make money off of what they know how to do.
Her mother has died days after she was shot in the Coos County town of Whitefield last week. The Attorney General's office says Amy Blake died from her injuries. An autopsy found she died from a gunshot wound to the head. The AG's office says her son Michael Morrow remains in critical condition after also being shot in the head. Another victim, Eric Blake Sr., was shot but is expected to survive. Investigators believe Eric Blake Jr. shot his mother, brother, and his father before killing himself.
Jeez. Anyways, I really hope the proper authorities here in Augusta, Maine, do what they're supposed to do to help our children in the hands of these sick murderous pedophiles and expose the facts and concerns we've been talking about. It's amazing how not too many people, that should be their main focus throughout all our systems, state departments, government, politicians, and I don't know what the fuck they're crying about. I know, and Mills is going off saying something about why won't Trump address their concerns about ICE or something. I don't know. Immigrant got shot. What the fuck are you people doing? Right, so she's complaining Trump won't address their issues. They've been doing this for years, like with the transgender shit and getting the bullies and stuff like that. And because they won't arrest certain people they feel to be dangerous or bullies. Nope, and they're not doing their job. They don't want to listen to our concerns, and then they do it back, and they use that as justification to act like total douchebags and abuse the systems. We're not the only excuses they use to do that. So understand, it's already been done. I don't know what you think you're going to fucking do, but becoming aware and addressing these things is probably in your best interest. Right, so you have Mills saying, no, he doesn't want to address our issues, acting like a big fucking baby crying about that shit. What a fucking cunt. And then you have Trump and them saying, well, what's up with Maine? And the CDC doesn't want to recognize his issues with the vaccine concerns. This is a fun fucking tennis match, as usual, from small scale to big scale. From fucking households and school board meetings, townhouse meetings. Are you even allowed to talk about that stuff? I can remember back in 2008, 9, and 10, them deeming that topic conspiracy altogether, and if you even brought it up, they had security come and take you out. We got fucking, like just take you out of the room, not like kill you. No, they do that kind of targeting on the side. They wouldn't do that in public view or have anyone with a degree do that. Much love, health, and peace to you all. The proper authorities here in Augusta, Maine need to address this. We wish you all adieu, adieu.